Florida has a housing problem that falling prices have not solved. The homes are listed, the sellers are waiting, and in some cities, the buyers are walking through the door, calculating the real cost, and walking straight back out. By February 2026, nearly 2/3 of all listings in Miami had been sitting for at least 60 days without going under contract. In West Palm Beach, it was more than half. In Orlando, more than half. And those were not even the Florida markets where homeowners lost the most value. Across the state, buyers now have something they did not have for years: time, choices, and the power to say no. They are saying no to houses that need expensive roofs, no to condos carrying unknown assessments, no to flood zones with ownership costs that cannot be seen in the listing price, and no to sellers still asking for a version of Florida's market that no longer exists. Realtor.com examined 29 Florida housing markets. Only 4 recorded an increase in home value. These are the 10 cities at the other end of that list, the places where values fell hardest, listings piled up, or sellers discovered that cutting the price still did not guarantee a buyer. We begin with number 10. Number 10, Homosasa. Homosasa sells a version of Florida that is becoming difficult to find. It is quieter than Tampa, less polished than Naples, and far less expensive than the state's famous coastal cities. The median listing price in the wider Homosasa Springs market was approximately $273,000. Yet estimated home values still fell 2.98% in 1 year, an average loss of roughly $8,300. That tells us price alone is not creating urgency. Homosasa has a narrower buyer pool. It attracts people who specifically want the nature coast: boating, fishing, springs, larger lots, and a slower life. But a low purchase price can hide a complicated property. Is the home in a flood zone? Is it on septic? What condition is the roof? Can the buyer obtain insurance at a price that preserves the apparent bargain? How far is the property from major employment, specialist healthcare, and everyday services? A buyer comparing Homosasa with a conventional suburb is not comparing two houses. They are comparing two different ways of living. And when a home requires flood research, insurance research, well and septic inspections, and a long drive to work, the inexpensive listing can lose its advantage one inspection at a time. Homosasa does not have too few homes. It has too few buyers willing to accept every condition attached to them. Number 9, Daytona Beach. Daytona Beach is not one housing market. There are inland houses, beachside houses, investor properties, retirement communities, and an enormous condo market. That distinction matters because the weakest property can pull down the impression of the entire city. The wider Daytona Beach Ormond Beach market lost an estimated 3.57% in value, or approximately $12,100 on the median home. Inside Daytona Beach itself, the median listing price fell 8.49% year over year by May 2026. Homes were selling for about 96% of asking price. That is not a seller choosing between 10 offers. That is a buyer looking at the price, subtracting the repairs, subtracting the risk, and making the seller absorb the difference. The pressure becomes sharper in older coastal condos. The unit may appear affordable. Then the buyer reads the association documents: master insurance, reserve funding, milestone inspections, concrete restoration, monthly dues, and the possibility that a special assessment arrives after closing. The buyer does not ask only, "Can I afford this condo?" The buyer asks, "Can this building afford itself?" That question is killing deals across Florida's older condo market. An ocean view no longer makes buyers ignore the financial condition of the building holding it up. Number 8, The Villages. The Villages has a buyer almost no other market can rely on. A retiree arriving specifically to purchase the lifestyle. Golf carts, recreation centers, clubs, organized social life, and neighborhoods designed around retirement. But that buyer has options: the wider Wildwood. The Villages market lost an estimated 3.69% in value, roughly $15,000 on the median home. By mid-2026, Realtor.com described the Villages as buyer-friendly, with homes receiving about 97% of their asking price. Redfin found the median sale price per square foot down 6.1% year over year. The central problem is competition. A resale owner is not competing only with the house next door. The owner may be competing with newer homes, newer sections, builder incentives, and properties that require less immediate updating. The buyer can compare the old roof with a newer roof, the dated interior with a new kitchen, the established neighborhood with a new home carrying incentives. And because the community serves a very specific stage of life, resale timing is unforgiving. Some owners need to move closer to family, some move into assisted living, some estates need to sell. The house cannot wait for the perfect market merely because the seller wants last year's price. The buyer controls the comparison, and a resale that looks old, expensive, or poorly positioned can become invisible inside one of America's most famous retirement communities. Number 7. Port St. Lucie. Port St. Lucie was built around space, newer houses, master-planned communities, garages, backyards, and an alternative to the cost of Palm Beach County and South Florida. But by 2026, buyers had thousands of choices. Realtor.com counted approximately 3,700 homes for sale in the city in June. The wider market lost an estimated 3.71% in value, or about $14,700 on the median home. This is what happens when resale owners compete with construction crews. A builder can offer a mortgage rate buy-down. It can contribute toward closing costs. It can install new appliances. It can reduce the price without exposing that decision in the same way an individual homeowner does. The resale seller cannot manufacture a lower interest rate, and a buyer comparing two similar houses may choose the new one unless the used house offers a meaningful discount. Port St. Lucie also stretches the buyer's budget beyond the mortgage. Many residents depend on a car, some commute long distances. Master plan communities can add association fees, community development charges, or other recurring costs. Insurance still matters. The home may look cheaper than Palm Beach. The complete monthly payment may not feel cheap enough. That is why a city can keep growing while an individual seller struggles. Population demand and the demand for your particular house are not the same thing. Number 6. Lakeland. Lakeland sits between Tampa and Orlando. For years, that location was the sales pitch. Buy here, pay less, reach either major city. But between two cities can also mean belonging fully to neither one. The Lakeland Winter Haven market lost an estimated 3.72% in value, approximately $11,700 on the median home. By June 2026, local market data showed more than 1,000 active listings and 3.82 months of supply. Homes were still selling. The urgency was gone. The buyer who commutes must calculate fuel, tolls, vehicle wear, and the hours lost on Interstate 4. The buyer who works locally must compare the mortgage with local earnings. And the buyer looking at a resale must compare it with new construction spreading across Polk County. Lakeland exposes one of Florida's most important housing contradictions. A market can be cheaper than Tampa and still be too expensive for the income earned in Lakeland. Sellers see a discount compared with Orlando. Buyers see a monthly payment compared with their paycheck. Those are completely different comparisons. And the buyer's comparison is the one that decides whether the house sells. Number 5. Vero Beach. Vero Beach offers coastal Florida without Miami's scale or Palm Beach's image. That sounds like an advantage. It can also limit the number of people prepared to pay coastal prices. The wider Sebastian Vero Beach market lost an estimated 4.22% in value, about $15,800 on the median home. Realtor.com highlighted one 3-bedroom Vero Beach listing reduced by $75,000. That is not cosmetic negotiation. That is the market rejecting the original price. Vero Beach contains two very different propositions. On the barrier island, buyers may face premium prices, coastal exposure, and high insurance costs. On the mainland, the property can be more affordable, but it competes with many other quiet Florida communities. The wealthy buyer has alternatives across the entire state. The middle-income buyer has a payment limit. The retiree has time to wait. So the seller's problem is not convincing someone that Vero Beach is pleasant. The problem is proving that this particular house is worth its price after insurance, maintenance, and location are included. In a market with patient buyers, aspiration does not set the price. The next acceptable offer does. Number 4. Naples. Naples looks wealthy enough to escape an ordinary housing slowdown. It did not. The Naples Marco Island market recorded the largest dollar loss on this list, approximately $34,900 on the median home in 1 year. That represented a 5.7% decline. The median list price was still above $580,000, and the luxury market stretched far beyond that. But expensive markets can freeze when buyers believe tomorrow's price will be lower than today's. In Naples, the house price is only the first number. The buyer then adds insurance, flood exposure, club membership, association dues, landscaping, maintenance, and for condos, the financial condition of the entire building. Naples Area Board of Realtors data showed condo prices falling 7.5% year over year during 2025. In some luxury segments, months of supply moved into double digits. That gives wealthy buyers the most dangerous weapon a seller can face: the ability to wait. They do not need this condo, they do not need this street, and they do not need to accept a seller's price simply because the seller once saw a neighbor achieve it. Naples proves that a rich buyer is not necessarily an aggressive buyer. Sometimes wealth creates patience, and patience forces the discount. Number 3. Northport. Northport was one of Florida's great affordability alternatives. It offered newer houses and more space than many coastal communities nearby. But supply changed the negotiation. The Northport Bradenton Sarasota market lost an estimated 6.73% in value, about $29,300 on the median home. By June 2026, Realtor.com counted approximately 3,700 homes for sale in Northport, while its median listing price sat near $350,000. That is an enormous menu for a city of its size, and the homes can look remarkably similar. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a 2-car garage, a recently built subdivision. When buyers can choose among dozens of substitutes, loyalty disappears. The house with the busy road loses. The house with the older roof loses. The house with the higher insurance quote loses. The house whose seller refuses to negotiate loses. New construction makes the contest even harder. The builder can offer incentives an ordinary seller cannot match. And undeveloped lots create the impression that more supply can always arrive. Northport's problem is not that buyers dislike the city. It is that buyers do not have to fight over the same house. Choice has replaced scarcity. And once scarcity disappears, the seller's imaginary price disappears with it. Number 2. Cape Coral. Cape Coral was built around a promise: your own house, your own pool, and in many neighborhoods, a canal behind the backyard. But water access carries a second price tag. The Cape Coral Fort Myers market lost an estimated 7.26% in value in 1 year. That was approximately $27,500 on the median home. The region entered 2026 with high inventory, and Realtor.com counted about 6,400 homes for sale in Cape Coral by June. For a buyer, every canal is not equal. Some provide direct Gulf access. Some require bridges. Some take much longer to reach open water. Some properties sit in flood zones that change the insurance calculation. Then come the seawall, dock, pool equipment, roof, and storm history. A listing can show blue water behind the house. It cannot show the buyer's final insurance quote in the hero photograph. Cape Coral also has large numbers of relatively similar homes. When inventory rises, buyers sort them brutally. Newer roof, better elevation, lower flood exposure, shorter boating route, no unresolved storm damage. Realistic seller. Every house that fails one of those tests becomes leverage against the houses that pass. The canal once justified the premium. Now the buyer asks how much that canal will cost to own. Number 1. Punta Gorda. Punta Gorda recorded the largest percentage decline of any Florida market Realtor.com examined. Home values fell 7.97% from January 2025 to January 2026. That erased approximately $26,600 from the median home. And the weakness did not disappear when the calendar changed. By June 2026, Realtor.com counted roughly 3,800 active listings. The median listing price was down another 7.4% year over year. The typical listing took 87 days to sell, and homes closed for about 96% of asking price. 3 years earlier, active inventory had been far lower. By June 2026, it was up more than 37% from that level. Punta Gorda has waterfront homes, retirement communities, newer developments, and a historic center. It also concentrates nearly every question making Florida buyers cautious. What is the flood zone? What happened to the roof? What will insurance cost? Does the seawall need work? What does the association cover? Is the seller's price based on today's competition or yesterday's expectations? In one Punta Gorda neighborhood, Realtor.com found homes selling almost 9% below asking. That is the buyer delivering a verdict. The home may be beautiful, the city may be desirable, but if the ownership risk is high and 5 alternatives are waiting nearby, beauty does not create urgency. Punta Gorda reached number 1 because the market has forced sellers to confront the gap between what their homes were worth and what today's buyers will actually pay. What connects all 10 cities? These 10 markets are different, but buyers are rejecting the same broken calculation. The listing price says what it costs to purchase the home. It does not say what it costs to survive the home. Insurance can change the payment. Flood coverage can change the payment. Association dues can change the payment. A special assessment can change the payment. A long commute can change the payment. And a competing builder can make yesterday's resale price impossible. The second problem is inventory. Florida had approximately 300,000 homes listed for sale by June 2026. That was lower than the previous year, but still more than 50% above the level 3 years earlier. The state's typical listing needed 75 days on the market. In February, Redfin found nearly 2 sellers for every buyer nationally. In Miami and West Palm Beach, sellers outnumbered buyers by more than 2 to 1. Florida buyers are no longer afraid that every acceptable home will disappear overnight. They can inspect, compare, negotiate, and leave. That final power, the power to leave, is what these sellers are feeling. Conclusion. The message from these 10 cities is brutal. Buyers have seen the real cost of Florida housing, and they are refusing to pay yesterday's prices for today's problems. A renovated kitchen cannot cancel a failing roof. A canal cannot erase a flood insurance bill. An ocean view cannot repair an underfunded condo building. And a lower purchase price means very little when insurance, association fees, commuting, and maintenance push the monthly cost beyond what local incomes can support. That is the calculation now killing deals. The seller remembers what a neighbor received when listings disappeared in days. The buyer sees what is available now. Thousands of homes, repeated price reductions, builder incentives, and properties that have been sitting long enough to lose any sense of urgency. So the buyer waits. Another week passes, and another seller cuts the price. A competing home returns to the market. An inspection uncovers a roof problem. An insurance quote destroys the monthly budget. The property that looked desirable at $450,000 begins to look dangerous once the full cost of ownership is exposed. Meanwhile, the seller keeps paying. The mortgage continues, the insurance renews, the association collects its dues. The empty house needs electricity, landscaping, and maintenance. Every month without a buyer turns the asking price from an ambition into an expense. That pressure is already visible in Punta Gorda, where values fell almost 8%. It is visible in Cape Coral, where roughly 6,400 listings force similar homes to compete against one another. And it is visible in markets from Naples to Daytona Beach, where buyers are demanding that sellers absorb the risks hidden behind the listing photographs. For years, Florida sellers could name the price because buyers were terrified of missing the house. Now sellers are terrified of missing the buyer. And the longer these homes sit, the clearer the buyer's message becomes. The price is still too high.